Hello guys, welcome to um the third video of my bet prediction validation model. So this walkthrough, I'm going to show you guys how to um insert the data I've provided, the CSV files, into your database. So as a refresher, we've talked about how you can scrape data from forebet.com. So instead of doing that whole scraping process, you can either download and import the CSV files into your database, or you can I have a script that can do that for you. So you can either go for option one, where you create the tables right in your database, and then after you've created the tables, you can come and run these two scripts to create the training and the testing data. Or you can just use option two, which will just create the training and the testing data for you. The reason why I split them into two different options was that I would expect people um to create different types of tables. So with the option one, let's say you want to create your own table. Okay, um all you would have to do is go to the modules, right? So the modules path has let me show you guys that one. Modules, it has the SQL operations. Okay, so if you want to do, create any table, maybe you have your own CSV file and you want to add that CSV file into the project, you can come here, create the table you want, okay, and then run add the SQL script, and then when you're done, all you have to do is import the variable from SQL operations, that's this file, into this create all tables in database script. Okay, so once you import that variable here, you can connect to the database, right? Create your engine, and then you can either execute that script, okay, and once you have the CSV file path, you just connect it here, and make sure you check the encoding, because I had a lot of errors checking the with the encoding. So I thought it was the CSV file was a UTF-8, but apparently it was an ISO 8859. So make sure you check the encoding. I have this function here that will detect the encoding of the CSV file for you. So all you have to do is put the path here, and then yeah, run it. So I hope that makes sense. Let me run this so that you guys know what I'm talking about. So first, so I am using my SQL Workbench. I have this connection over here, and I am using testing this database called testing repo. So currently you can see all the tables here, so let me delete all of them and show you how the script drop 6 tables, show you how the script works. So we are going to create all the tables. We import our packages. I have linked the modules directory, so we can easily import the SQL operations, the variables within the SQL operations Python file, and run them. Okay, so my user is test user, that's for the MySQL. Test user, localhost, and the port number is 3306. So for people who are new to MySQL Workbench, I'm sure the only user that will be available will be root. And then if you want to start a connection, all you just have to do is click here, give it a name, the only user you would have when you would install MySQL at that moment will be root. So you create your password. Okay, I won't do that, and then you just test the connection, and then you can use that. Okay, so we have the information for the database. Okay, the password is password, localhost is, and this is the port. So let's run this, and so if you are putting in new scripts, you would have to execute the SQL variables, right? But for us, we have the CSV files, so we would convert those files to data frames and then insert those data frames into the database. Okay, so for us, we are getting the data, putting them in a data frame and inserting that data into the database. But you can also just use execute SQL function, connect to the engine, and then run any script you want to run in your database. I hope that makes sense. So that's why I've commented these ones out, because I realized after that there really isn't any need to execute them like this. All you have to do is just get the path to the CSV file, okay, store them, and then read the CSV files, put them in the data frame, and then now the data frame to SQL tables. So this will be the name of the table. Connect with your engine, and then if it exists, replace it. The reason why we are replacing is because the CSV file will be updated every week. Okay, so they would have the previous week information added to them. So you'd have to just replace the whole table. So yeah, I've run this. Let me see where I was. Okay. So as I said, I was getting errors with the encoding. So make sure you check your encoding for the CSV files. It could be UTF. I mean, if you open it on VS Code, sometimes it would show UTF-8, but then once you start running them, you realize that, oh, wait, it's a different ISO. I had a couple errors because of the encoding. So when I run this, so this just puts all the tables inside the database. Okay, so we'll go to our database, and you would realize that the tables are there. Okay, so everything is here. Let me just verify. We have all our information here. So these are for all the 4 tables. Now, as I said in the last walkthrough, I told you guys that for my training data, I'll merge the previous and the completed matches to create the training data, and then the current and the upcoming matches for the testing data. So I have scripts for that as well to create the training and then the testing data. It's basically the same process. So it's the same process. Connect, and then execute. So you would go back here, let me refresh there, and then you see our training data. So that's that, and then the same for the testing data. I should have put them in the one. I should have put these two in one file, but I realized that it would be easier and better to just separate them. So let's run the testing data, and refresh, and there you have it. Okay, so that's basically it. Now, instead of getting all the 4 tables, for option 2, you can just decide that you only want to focus on the training and testing data. You can run the scripts as well. Let me close all these ones. Okay, so same process. Import all your variables and packages, connect to the database, get engine execute. So we are not going to execute, we are just going to get the path, and then you get the path, and let me skip this one, and then you just add those data frames into your what was it called? So let me do that again. So as I said, it would replace, we already had our testing and then our training data. So let me just remove all these ones tables and then run that again. So now we have nothing in our database, so I would run this again, get the path, and 20. So let me refresh. Now you see our training and our testing data all in one. Okay, so that's for option 2. Option 2 will just give you 2 tables, the training and the testing data. And once you're done, you can go and run your models. So we go to models. No, wait, let's first look at the model classifier, the comparing the classifiers. So we have different models and we want to test all those models on the training and testing data. Now the reason why we are doing that is that for every week, with the data we have, certain models might perform better than the previous week. So as the data accumulates, my prediction is that certain models will be way better than other models. Okay, so we will pick the top 3 after comparing the models with the data weekly, and then the best 3 models would focus on them, tune their parameters, and then make sure that we can get some really good results for the next bet predictions. So it follows the same process. I don't want to run all this, but so you import your packages and libraries, connect to your database. Now the previous one we were inserting data into the database, but with this one we are loading from the database. So we are going to select all the tables, all the data from the table name, right? So for us it would be training data, which is already in our let me run this so that it makes sense. Do I have to install certain things? What was I using smooth? Oh yeah, for imbalancing. Okay, I have to install smooth, but I'm not going to go all the way to that side. So let me just connect to my database, and so the smooth module, the imblend module, I'm going to use that for balancing, for sampling. So what I realized is I only had 2 weeks of data, so it wasn't enough because some were wins, some were success. So we had a lot of bet predictions that were wins, and we had a lot of bet predictions that were losses. Hey, we had smaller bet predictions that were losses. So I had to, the data was, there was imbalance in the data. Okay, so I had to use smooth to duplicate certain data. So we are going to ignore this for now. I just want to show you the data for the training and the testing. So as you can see, we are picking from the database this training data. We've seen the columns already on this side, but let me just run. We have our testing data as well, and so I don't want to go too much into the models for this video. I'll probably save that for another video. So let me just, and then exit. Okay, so so that's basically that. I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, please visit. The best advice would be to read um, the documentations I have in my GitHub. So I'll put the link in the description. And I want you guys to, I don't want to make it too limited. I want you guys to have to, if you have any ideas, if you think certain data would be necessary, you can maybe have your own process and then get that data into a CSV file, and then maybe you just come and put it here, right? So let's say the idea is that we would have different types of CSV files that people can, let's say, I'll merge this with something. I don't know if that makes sense, but like if there are lots of tables and data people are scraping and contributing onto the into the project, right? People can merge different types of tables with different types of data, as long as the column to merge on would be the labels. Okay, the column to merge in will be the team names, but I have made them labels. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. I have this dictionary that represents the team names and the labels. So that would be our main yeah, so this is it. So this will be our main column that everyone should be using. So let's say you are scraping data with information, right? Please make sure you have this, use this dictionary, right? So that it follows a right structure. Okay, so for everyone's database, Arsenal is 1 and 2 represents Aston Villa. I hope that makes sense. So that if you scrape data and you have a different CSV file, I can combine my tables with your tables as long as the let me just as long as the team names are represented by the right label, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So um yeah, so I just want to let me quickly show you phase 2, right? So phase 2, the idea is that instead of using data from forbet.com, users I'll create a website where users can supply their own in bet history, their bet patterns. Okay, so I'm Kofi. I go to the website, I upload pictures, images of my bets, the ones I lost, the ones I won, and then I use Tesseract. So Tesseract is a optical, what's the name? It's an image record. Um it it converts, it extracts the text in image. Okay, so the idea would be that people will supply their bet slips, and let's say they supply like 30 bet slips, and then Tesseract runs through the bet slips, it extracts the text, it cleans the text. I'll create a whole pipeline where it would clean the text, and then it would feed that all those information for a particular user into a model, so the model will be personalized to that user. I hope that makes sense. So the only problem I am having right now is that these texts are read or can be extracted, all right. The only problem was the these things here, these annotations here that represent if that fixture was a lost or won. Okay, so I will now have to train Tesseract to so we have certain things called ground truth. Okay, so let me open image 3. Let me just open image 3. So this is draw Barcelona. So what I'm going to do is that I'm teaching Tesseract to identify this green annotation as an at. Okay, an at, and then the this image 3b. So the x would be something else. It would be image 3b ground truth. The x would be represented by this. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm using JTest box editor to 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 rearrange the, let me just quickly show you guys what this does, and we'll be done for this video. So what JText box editor does is that we pick an image out of these images, and we are training we are creating boxes around the text, right? So this will represent an act, right? And then this is a D, and then this is an R. So I can shift the boxes. As you can see, that box is moving. I can shift the boxes to the particular text, so that, and I'll do this for various images, and then it would learn how to, let me set this one back, the height. So that's that. Okay, so that's, set it back, and then I'll save. Okay, so that's basically what it does. It will draw boxes around the text, and then we would create ground truths that represents what the text should represent, what that button at the top should be in terms of text format, and then yeah, we get the data, and then we pass that into a model, and so that's it. Please, if you have any contributions or any ideas, just, or there's anything you don't understand, let me know. Feel free, contribute. Thank you guys. Bye.